You don't just want to become a social media manager, you want to be a successful social media manager. And you are in the right place because in this video, we're covering the technical, strategic, and creative skills that have contributed to our success over the last 14 years for me and 18 years for Craig, and our over 10 years combined as social media agency owners. And this is for you whether you're a freelancer, full-time in-house, or working at an agency. Now, so you know we're qualified. We've worked with major brands not just on one-off projects, but running full social strategy and execution from the ground up. Our primary income actually comes from being practitioners. We run client accounts, build strategies for corporations and their teams, and manage communities that have driven billions of views and major growth for the brands that we support.
We've both worked as social media managers, as freelancers, in-house for our own projects and within our agency. And at this stage, not only do we have our own social media manager, we also manage social media manager teams for other businesses as fractional directors and consultants. And of course, we now also provide free and paid education through our social platforms and digital products. Some of the skills we're sharing today are so underrated, but they've been the reason our referral and client retention rate is so high that we don't pitch for new business anymore.
Yep.
We only take on full service clients if they're referred.
Exactly. So with all that said, let's dive into the first thing you need to be a successful social media manager this year. You need to be an operational ninja. I truly believe the level of organization and the systems we've built on top of the creative work we do is exactly why we've had so much repeat business. Every successful social media manager needs to have repeatable processes documented. These are known as SOPs, or standard operating procedures, something you really need to get familiar with. And you need templates so that you never miss a thing. This includes, but it is definitely not limited to, how you onboard and manage clients, right? So the discovery process, goal setting, deliverables, timelines, how you manage their social media accounts. So what happens when? How do approvals flow? How do you deliver that content for approval? When and how do you report on performance? Communication is very important. So when you email versus when you Slack, meeting agendas, follow-up procedures. Think about the SOPs for like creators and influencers that you might work with. So how you hire them, the conditions they meet, how you track performance, contracts, deliverables. A lot of these SOPs will just be for you or anyone who is helping you, but your templates will be collaborative, like your client discovery document, for example. And that's what makes your process smooth with not just your clients, but for yourself and for anyone else you may work with to help that client. And you should also build work back plans for projects, especially launches, and track your time using apps like Toggl. Toggl we've used for like
many years.
It has to be like a decade or something. It hasn't been around.
Pretty much since the beginning. Pretty close.
Yeah. So it's a time tracking app. You'll want to track your time, especially if you charge hourly. It's what we use for our consulting retainers, and we'll link it below for you. But even if you don't charge hourly, time tracking data will help you really understand and see whether your rate matches the level of effort and time you're putting into a client. And that's before even factoring in the value of your actual work. But at the very least, it'll help you understand whether you're getting paid fairly. And we can talk more about setting a price for your services. If anyone is interested, we'd be happy to talk about it. Just let us know in the comments below. But to make this operational side of social media management easier, we put together a social media manager's client onboarding blueprint. It is free, and it'll help you check off everything you need to start every client project with confidence and clarity, so you start off looking like a true professional, because that is key. It's honestly what we wish we had when we started our agency 10 years ago. We had nothing. Everything we just had to piece together. Yeah. And but you can grab it for free via the link in the description. Now, of course, in response to onboarding, you should also have a handover or offboarding deck or document as well. So we use a deck, and that provides access to everything we've worked on for the social media account. So that's exactly what you want, especially for limited time projects. So you never have to worry about some random email coming to you, asking you for something, wondering where it is once you're off the project like 3 months from now. It's something we really really provide often for training in-house teams so you can really set the next person up for success. So make sure that for every onboarding, you have an offboarding plan as well.
Now, we've seen so many social media managers run into problems with clients or bosses, and it almost always comes down to misaligned expectations. You and your client or your boss need to be crystal clear about what success looks like, how you'll measure it, how your strategy supports those goals, and what's actually realistic. Because if this isn't set from day one, you'll have clients panicking 3 months in, wondering why they don't have 10,000 followers yet, and no one wants that email or message. And I'm pretty sure we've dealt with that at some point in the past.
Sure, in the past, yeah.
Pre-high season.
Yeah,
and
back
I imagine
in the day.
if you're currently managing social, you'd be pretty familiar with that. So this happens because even though you might be making major strategic progress, it won't feel like it to them if follower count was the only metric in their head, and it kind of often is.
Yeah.
For us, even though we've grown multiple accounts well past 100K, our goals are never rooted in just vanity metrics. They are rooted in meaningful outcomes. So things like hiring X number of creators to build a library of content, driving a set number of newsletter signups or subscriptions, increasing engagement or reach by a specific percentage. And most importantly, we base those goals on benchmarks from past performance or industry standards. We also document our successes and intentionality behind them. You have to track your wins, guys. For example, for one client, we built a creator program to deliver educational content. We assumed it would increase reach and trust, and it ended up being the highest performing organic campaign in that client's history. That's how you start building case studies, data, and confidence in your strategy, not just for yourself, but from your client too.
Now, this is very important. Everything's important, but this is very important for the role, right? If you want to thrive in this social media industry, you have to be obsessed with social media and with content. We're not just talking about managing social media well. We're talking about being successful at it. You have to understand content strategy, growth levers, and the why behind performance. You need to be a student of the game always. That never changes. Study brands and creators across industries. Test different formats and features. You need to actually use the platforms. You need to watch trends, but also know how to put your own spin on them and your client's spin on them. You need to sign up to every credible social media newsletter and learn from experts, perhaps a couple of YouTubers who've done this for a while.
Maybe, good luck.
But most importantly, you just cannot be stagnant. You need to stay curious, and please don't recycle the same strategy month after month and run on autopilot. That is a pet peeve of mine, and your clients feel it too. It is not fair to you as a social media manager who should be building and growing, and is definitely not fair to your client either. It's also important to understand what works on social media. Social media has changed so much over the last 5 years specifically. It is no longer about perfect photos and clever captions. It's about storytelling, trust, and creativity. Right now, video obviously is the leading creative, but the next layer of that, for example, this is just another plug that it has nothing to do technically with the topic exactly, but we just want you to be thinking about this as social media managers. Founder-led content, right? When the actual founder of a company shows up and leads the story, it builds trust and connection, and it's the future of social media. We'll definitely go deeper into that in another video if you'd like that. But if your client isn't open, knowing that founder-led content so important. If your client isn't open to being on camera and doesn't have an employee or ambassador to take their place, that's okay, but you can't just wash your hands of it and say, we're not going to take advantage of something this big. You can still develop signature formats that align with their brand and are in this vein. So you could do a short form series with retained creators that you manage. We've leaned on creators and employees a lot because some of the founders of our clients have literally been like multinational CEOs that aren't easy to lock down for like consumer content for Instagram and stuff like that, right? But we work around it with creators or ambassadors. Another thing you could do is long form brand building content. It's another great way to showcase thought leadership on platforms like LinkedIn, and now Substack is really coming up there too. And that would educate and also prove authority on your client's behalf. Either way, your job is to guide them strategically, not just post for them. Now, if you ever want a second eye on the work you're producing for a client, we have social media managers inside our membership channel here on YouTube who we help all the time in our live Q&As, and we actually just love talking to other people who are in the direct line of work like us too. So definitely recommend you check that out because it might be useful for you too to tap into a community focused on the same things you are. That'll be linked below.
On the note of being obsessed with social media, let's talk specialization. So you don't necessarily have to specialize in a niche or industry, but it can really give you a huge edge. When you niche down by industry or platform, you move from being a general practitioner to a specialist. So think a doctor versus a surgeon. Both are really valuable, but one is known for a specific skill and charges more for it. That's key. Now, if you can confidently say, I help restaurant owners fill their restaurants through short form storytelling content on Instagram, or I help consultants fill their calendars through strategic LinkedIn content, or I help e-commerce brands boost engagement and drive sales using AI insights. AI and what that means for social media managers, also another topic we're more than happy to discuss. Just let us know. Now, you immediately become more searchable, referable, and in demand, which is really what you're here for.
Now let's talk about one of the most underrated skills in social: taste. Now, we've done well because I don't mean to be tooting our horn, but we're here for 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just saying we've done well because we have a strong sense of quality and presentation, another obsession. And in an AI-driven world, being a tastemaker is becoming even more valuable. So having a creative eye will give you an edge. You need to be able to identify what objectively looks professional in any niche, tone, or aesthetic. When we first started our agency, our earliest clients came to us simply because they wanted their Instagram to look like ours.
So true.
Literally. And that still happens. To this day, business owners often say they appreciate our aesthetic and our educational approach because it feels polished and it feels intentional. So do yourself a favor. Keep a mood board or saved folder of brands and content that inspire you. Study what makes them stand out. So the layout, the tone, the visuals, and refine your own signature eye that you can apply to clients. And that doesn't mean you're taking over the brand kit, right? It just means you have a sense of quality control and a consistent elevation that you can provide. Even if you're not the one designing the content, you should be able to give clear, elevated feedback to any creator, designer, or production team that you work with.
Alrighty, so this one's optional, but it's a major advantage, and that is ads knowledge. So even a basic understanding of paid media gives you leverage in terms of how you can make content perform for your clients, but also how you price your services. We'd recommend educating yourselves on ads, at the very least meta ads, to level up what you can offer. So you can take courses, join groups of paid advertisers, and watch YouTube videos to stay updated on best practices, perhaps on this channel. Then look at proposing an always on ad strategy, which will be a small budget that consistently drives reach and visibility. Then layer on promoted key posts and campaigns to push conversions or leads when needed. And when this is done right, it creates immediate wins. And if your client cares about leads, sales, or even brand awareness, being able to confidently handle paid strategy and drive results makes you an invaluable asset.
100%. Big part of our being able to charge more.
For sure.
I will say.
Yeah,
like this has helped a lot on the consulting front and then just in the overall full service front. Even
hearing from clients who have worked with us and then also worked with in-house people, and the things that I'm talking recently have been like, please help us again, because people aren't doing it right. And I think it's like a really great skill to have if you can 100%. Do it well consistently. You're one of very few people.
Exactly. Now, social media and social media management is something we could talk about forever because it is so much more than posting. So if you are a social media manager watching, let us know, because we are happy to dive into how to get clients, build a portfolio, build your personal platform, the onboarding process, how to price your services, agency life versus in-house life versus freelance, how to organize yourself, how to keep your clients happy so that you can keep getting repeat business. There's so much we can cover, and we are happy to build out something to share the knowledge we've developed over our careers. But we need to know, and we need to make sure that there is a group of you out there who would actually want it and could really benefit from it. So please let us know. Now, if you want to set yourself up and your clients up for success in that make or break onboarding period, grab our blueprint. It is linked below. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up and check out this one next. We think you will love it. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Bye.